and then we'll fill for a minute. We are not sponsored by Raycon. Although, if we were, then that would mean I'd probably have a pair. A lot of the YouTube people that I watch are sponsored by them, and I'm like, I wonder if I would even use those if I had them. Because I don't know. I don't know when I would. Like if I'm dashing, it's just playing podcasts through the iPod. Like, because I still use an iPod. Because I'm ancient. I guess if I had unlimited data, which I don't because I don't need it, so why would I have it? But if I had unlimited data, it would probably be a thing I would use is constantly have stuff playing through it, like when I'm out dashing instead of using an iPod. Maybe. So I would probably want some wireless earbuds. Maybe. What I'm saying is, Raycon, if you'd like to sponsor us, please do. All right, that was a good minute and a half of nonsense, which means if it's going to start recording, it has. So here we go. Ow, jam. Hello, What? What the hell?
Best intro ever.
Oh, yeah.
Whew. You know what? Now that you've said that, I'm not even going to redo it. Oh, something in my throat just caught as I tried to do the intro. I don't know what just happened. And now chat is reminding me of rule 1. Thank you, chat. Where was I? Hello and welcome to the Mana Pool.
In your apartment.
I was in my in the corner, the upper corner, in the ceiling.
Podcast is coming from inside.
No. By the way, I would like to take this opportunity to remind everyone of the rules. Rule 1, no dying. Rule 2, don't be a dick. This has been a reading of the rules. So, yeah, hi. This is episode 658 of the Mana Pool. I didn't die. I have not been completed because that's not actually a real thing that happens in the real world that we know of as of yet.
That you know of.
Sorry, as of yet is bad grammar. As yet. There we go. Yeah, I'm Chewy, and I'm the boss. I forgot how this goes. Hey, other nerds, geeks, whatever you're called.
People, I'm Brian. I'm the lead rambler tangent master of the group. I'm here to do stuff. And possibly things.
I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and the game lore guy. And I'm here to not do as much as expected.
Correct.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greatest man alive and moral compass of the group. And I'm here to fall off the cliff, apparently, I guess.
Oh,
Here to kick ass and say things, and I'm all out of things to say. So, this week we're continuing our look at Dom U, because the full set is out now. So, I guess we'll just get to it. If there are any cards, chat, that you want us to be sure to hit, drop them in the chat as always, and hopefully we'll get to them. I remember there was one in particular that was rattled off at the end of the stream and we didn't get to it. It was in blue. It's Vesuvan Duplimancy.
okay.
And it actually turns out that I think he said it was the name and the flavor text of this card was written by Will Blanks, who was our, unofficial, or not unofficial, but our behind-the-scenes 4th member of Monday Night Magic for a very long time. He was the one who filled in the show notes with just stuff constantly. Yeah, he tweeted that this one and another one were ones that he did the name and flavor text for, and I don't remember what they were, so I'll go look that up. Hey, someone read Vesuvan Diplomancy.
So, Vesuvan Diplomancy.
Sorry, Duplimancy.
Duplimancy. I've read it.
Doplomancy.
Oh, you mean the card. Okay. For 3 and a blue, it is an enchantment. It's mythic. Do I need to look at Oracle for this text? Oh, no. This isn't Mythic Inscription. Whenever you cast a spell that targets only a single artifact or creature you control, create a token that's a copy of that artifact or creature, except it's not legendary. So, shenanigans. Also...
Sorry, we were burned down your village. Here you are.
I like it.
Yeah, and the flavor text is, there hasn't been an original thought on Vesuva in centuries. And that's by MS Talarian Chronicler. Yeah, here we go. Will tweeted, I'm double checking to see which of my submissions got finalized, but I did the names and flavor text for both of these. And it was Vesuvan Duplimancy and Haunted Mire. Huh.
Neat.
Haunted Mire, real quick, is one of the common... These are in alphabetical order, aren't they? Common dual lands. Enters the battlefield tapped, and it's got swamp and forest type lines. And the flavor text is, some of the nature spirits and wraiths that haunt Urborg take offense at the term ghost town.
That's good.
I like that.
Okay, back to the Duplimancy.
Yeah, for the Duplimancy, as someone that's always been a fan of polymorph effects, I like that I can polymorph my thing and I still get to keep a token copy of the original thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on here, because you don't have to have just weird things like that. Like, the most common kind of spell that you would even, want and be encouraged to cast on your own creatures are auras.
Yes.
Yeah. Pump spells.
Yeah.
That's all I got, really, is auras and pump spells, but stuff like
And
that.
polymorph.
Hey, I'll make this indestructible till end of turn. Oh, and I have a second one now. That's a pump spell, though, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
Not. Whatever. You know what I mean.
Yep.
Okay, I just scrolled down and saw the thing underneath it, and I really want to talk about that. Just based
What's
on
the
the
thing?
art alone.
This thing is crazy.
Because it's a merfolk in a very aquatic, clamshell-looking seat on the back of some kind of beast that's being led by a goblin. What? And it's called Vodalian Mindsinger.
It took me a long time to realize that, yes, this was in fact a merfolk, because the merfolk is not what stands out in this art.
Not at all.
I didn't notice the goblin the first time. I didn't look very hard.
So for 1 blue, it's a rare merfolk wizard that's a 2/2. It has kicker of 1 in a red and or 1 in a green. So 3 mana, 5 mana, or 7 mana. Vodalian Mindsinger enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each time it was kicked. So a 5 mana 4/4. But then when Vodalian... I haven't read this card either. When Vodalian Mindsinger enters the battlefield... Oh! Okay, yeah, this is good. Gain control of target creature with power less than Vodalian Mindsinger's power for as long as you control Vodalian Mindsinger. So it's a gimme dat. And
the more you pump it, the more stuff you potentially could grab.
Yeah. Now, bear in mind, this does not say less than or equal to. That's going to trip up a lot of people. It does not say less than or equal to. So, you can only grab something that's of 1 or 0 power in its current state. You have to kick it at least once to grab something that has power 2 or 3. But even so, that's still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Very much a tempo thing, although it does paint a giant target on it, because then it's a massive tempo swing in the other direction. But,
yeah,
dice to Doomblade.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that never stopped Sower of Temptation from being a good card.
Exactly. Oh, and I just noticed the merfolk on the throne thing is singing.
Mm-hmm.
And presumably that's how they got the beast and the goblin to do their bidding.
Yep. Yeah, and I wonder if sitting in the giant clamshell is a callback to the art for Sea Singer.
For Sea Singer, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Let's look that up real quick. Sea Singer. This is one of those classics of merfolk thing sitting in a clamshell thing, and it taps to gain control of things.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, so that's what I saw.
I was scrolling earlier. I saw another saga, and I have not seen this saga, so I'm going to read this saga out loud, where it was in black. The Cruelty of Gix.
Oh.
In the original Brothers War, part of the history, Gix was a prominent Phyrexian figure. This costs 3 and 2 black. It's a rare. It has read ahead, so you can pick the chapter you want to start on. Can't go back and reread. Chapter 1. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a creature or planeswalker card from it. That player discards that card. Okay, they're probably going to have one of those two. Chapter 2. Search your library for a card. Put that card into your hand, then shuffle. You lose 3 life. Ooh. So it's like a vampiric tutor, but it goes to your hand.
That's worth the extra life, easy.
Yeah.
Although vampiric tutor was an instant, so
that effect is Grim Tutor. Drawn. We'll get something and lose 3 life.
Oh, okay. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that one. What's that from?
And then
it's from a Portal starter.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Stuff like that.
And then Chapter 3, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. I have always been a fan of taking other people's stuff, as you know from, all of my Shared Fate days.
So, Zombify costs 4 and says your graveyard, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your graveyard.
So for 1 extra mana, this can be whatever the Zombify anybody's creature is called.
I think Zombify, right? Or is...
No, I think Zombify is just your creature.
Yeah.
From your graveyard.
Yeah.
This says target creature from a graveyard.
I can't remember if there's like
a baseline version of that. Yeah,
baseline version of that.
But for 1 extra mana, you can get that immediately, which is fine. Like, that seems fine. Not like great, but it's fine. So that means the rest of it is just gravy. Make them discard a creature or planeswalker. Go find something. And then reanimate something.
Yeah, it is interesting to stop and think about each of the read-ahead sagas. It's like, okay, what is it if you just want to use it as a spell? Is it good? And I feel like most of them are.
At least the ones I've seen, I think, have all been if you just jump straight to chapter 3 and go with that, then I think they've all been fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At least, like I said, the ones I've seen. Oh, there's another one right above it. Look at the art on that. Braids' Frightful Return for 2 and a black. It's uncommon, and it has read ahead. Chapter 1, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, each opponent discards a card. Huh. Chapter 2, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Oh. And then Chapter 3, target opponent may sacrifice a non-land, non-token permanent. If they don't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. Huh. That one's slightly less impressive at 3 mana for just Chapter 3.
Yeah. I would feel like I would want to be maybe reading ahead to Chapter 2 most of the time.
Yeah.
And then just getting Chapter 3 as a bonus.
Yeah. But again, it's still fine.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I love the name. Braids' Frightful Return. One of those weird quirks of the English language where you have to say Braids'. Chat is reminding us that Grim Tutor got reprinted in M20, they think.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that sounds familiar. That.
Oh, did we do Cut Down last week?
No, I wanted to, but then I forgot. We got off track.
Yeah, do that, because this card is weird.
Okay, Cut Down. It's for a single black mana. It's an uncommon instant. Destroy target creature with total power and toughness 5 or less. So, 3 2s, 2 3s, anything smaller than that is fair game. 3 3s are right out.
Yeah, you could kill that 0-5 defender that's been in your damn way the whole game.
Yes.
You could kill that 5-0 thing that's not real, so no, you can't because it's already dead. But yeah. And it's also one of those neat things where, like, an instant speed pump spell can counter it, which I find hilarious.
That is interesting.
It's like, oh yeah, well, I'll put a +1/+1 counter on it. Well, then, damn it. So yeah, that is a really sweet kill spell. And I love the flavor text too, because Joda is not messing around. Joda says, there can be no mercy, no half measures. When facing Phyrexians, it's kill swiftly or die.
I should tell Joda, like, take a chill pill.
I don't think you should, actually.
I know it's the end of the world, but you don't have to be a jerk about it.
Yeah, this is not Unity, Joda. That sentence was not about Magic the Gathering. Speaking of which, we didn't read Joda, did we?
Don't think we did.
Oh, he's even called Joda the Unifier.
Is he in gold?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, I didn't make that joke on purpose. Okay, yeah, someone... Ooh, read Joda, and then we can do Joyra. Joyra. Why can I not say her name? Just anybody. Just dive right in.
I'm still getting down to him. Somebody else read it.
Oh, for
Joda the Unifier for Wooburg is a 5/5 human wizard that's mythic. Legendary creatures you control get +X/+X, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. Whenever you cast a legendary spell from your hand, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a legendary non-land card with lesser mana value. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost, with the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
So
like
he's
legendary cascade.
So he's a legendary coat of arms for you, and all your legendary spells have cascade into legendary. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is absolutely the poster child for a 5-color legendary based deck.
Absolutely.
Like it's like they thought what would be the two most generic and stupidly powerful things we could do for a 5-color legendary matters deck. Wait a minute, I've got it.
Yeah. I don't think this took them very long, which doesn't mean I don't like it. I just this is basically fill in the blank, you know.
Yeah. Oh, Razorback says Joda is a real thing in this format, and it's messed up if you can pull it off. You mean draft format? Because holy crap. Also, we're recording this on the day that the set released on Arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
I mean, there's so many cheap legendaries, just gold and everything. I mean, it's just gross.
And so many options for mana to make it all work.
Yeah. So right next to it, we have Joyra, Ageless Innovator. Because, yeah, Joyra doesn't die because death is a mug's game. Sandman reference. So Joyra, for a blue and a red, is a human artificer. She's rare. She's a 2/3. All right, so past Joyras have always been kind of ridiculous. What does this one do? So you tap to put 2 ingenuity counters on Joyra. What? Then you may put an artifact card, oh my god, with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield where X is the number of ingenuity counters on Joyra. What the hell, dude? Okay, so Joyra's still insane with artifacts. Got it. Thanks, Boo.
And her thing.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So that gets out of hand quickly. Yeah. There's really nothing to say about it, though. Keep using the ability.
I mean, what do you do?
Yeah,
you,
drop bigger artifacts for free.
Artifacts, yeah. Or lots of small ones. I don't think we've done Urtai Resurrected yet. So this jerk's still around. If you remember him, he's basically like the betrayer from the original Weatherlight Saga. Other than, you know...
Sorry, I just looked at the art. Look at those forearms. Huh?
Does he even lift? Yes.
Okay, I liked yours better.
This guy was one of the first like alternate arts, right? Like, because there was an alternate art version of him.
Yeah, in Plane Shift. There were alternate art foil versions of Urte the Corrupted, Tongarth, I can't remember the full name of the card, and Skyship Weatherlight.
I guess I should say when I say this guy, I don't mean this version of this card, because this is a character that has existed, and this is our first time seeing him like this, you know.
And before anyone actually's us, he didn't actually mean one of the first alternate arts ever, because Fallen Empires was just loaded with them.
Was it? Okay.
Oh,
I don't know all my Magic history.
Alliance has had some too.
Yeah, Alliance has had some too.
Wasn't Urtai the Corrupted? Wasn't he like kind of like almost a counter spell on legs or something? He had a lot to do with countering, I think.
You could sacrifice like a creature or an artifact. No, sorry, a creature or an enchantment, and pay some mana and tap him to counter something.
Yeah. So this guy. He turns out he wasn't dead. We thought Squee blew him up. Yay, Squee. Turns out he didn't. Boo, Squee. What are you doing? Somebody get Bill on the line. But he's back and looking kind of chiseled. So for 2, a blue and a black, he's a Phyrexian human wizard, legendary. He's rare. He's a 3/2 with flash, which is important because when he enters the battlefield, choose up to 1. Counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. Its controller draws a card.
Ooh.
Or destroy another target creature or planeswalker. Its controller draws a card.
Ooh.
Those are both very good things.
Mm-hmm.
Was that stifle or murder?
Yeah. But you can also do a spell. Stifle can't do spells.
All right. So it's counterspell and stifle, or murder is creature or planeswalker, right?
Hero's Downfall. Murder's just
Hero's
creature.
Downfall, that's the one. With a card draw for your opponent attached to it. I guess to make it fair, because after that you still get a 3/2? Buh.
Yeah, because it sticks to the board.
I like this design.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Sorry I
Although
killed
I do,
your whatever. Here's some gold.
Yeah. Although I don't know. It feels very comic booky to be like, hey, everyone that you thought was dead before, turns out they're not dead. Just a little like, this person was a, is someone that people recognize. It's a callback. We killed him off in the story. It was over 10 years ago. Nobody will remember that. I don't know. I feel like I've talked about this before, but when you sacrifice a character and later you undo that sacrifice, you lose so much of the dramatic weight of that. It'd be like them being like, hey, you know who else is back? Yawgmoth, or, whoever. So, but here I'm not complaining. He's pretty nifty looking guy, and I like how this is executed.
Yeah. Razorback said disallow is what the first ability is.
Okay.
I remember that one. Hang on. That's Kaladesh Remastered? Oh, and that's Ether Revolt. Okay. Right. Okay. Yep, this is coming back to me now. Counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability for 1 blue. Yeah. It was rare. Like you do. So, someone in chat earlier brought up Ivy, who's right next to Joyra. Hey, Derek, you hadn't said anything in a minute.
Which color?
Still in gold.
What was it again?
Ivy.
Oh, Ivy.
Yeah.
Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief for green blue. Can't imagine why they wanted me to read this, or you wanted me to read this.
I didn't even notice that. I just realized that you hadn't said anything in a minute.
So for 2/1, it's a fairy rogue that's rare. Has flying. Whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief, you may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy.
That's really freaking neat.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, I'm gonna pump my dude. Okay. I'm gonna pump my Ivy too. It's like, I'm gonna kill your dude. Okay. I'm not gonna kill my Ivy too. Because it says may.
Well, and I like the fact that it's not just a straight up like when you target a creature you control with a spell, copy it for Ivy, so it can't be like, because there's some of the creatures like in Strixhaven where there's a deck I've seen on Arena that is just like play 1 or 2 of these guys and then just fill them full of pump spells. So here you have kind of a similar effect, but you can't rely on her being the target of them. You have to target other things. So you can't just go all in on one creature.
Well, and there's also one thing at the bottom. So don't forget there's auras too. And it says in parentheses, a copy of an aura spell becomes a token.
You know what's an aura in green? Rancor. And like Ancestral Mask. If
That
you want
is
to
a
do
nice.
that thing.
That is a nice bit of reminder text though, because that hadn't even entered into my brain.
Uh-huh.
One that I want us to look at real quick too. Go down to artifacts.
Artifacts.
Karn's Silex.
Oh
Karn,
yeah, the new blowy uppy thingy.
yep. This is a major focus in the story because Karn was basically looking to put this together and then go to New Phyrexia and blow them all up.
I like this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, Karn kind of, not Karn, Ajani, when he was completed, kind of just took it in one hand and crumpled it up. So it was kind of like,
Oh,
really?
well, piss.
I mean, Karn was trying to do the right thing, but that's a lot. I mean, the Golgothian Silex activation was what set off the Ice Age in Dominaria.
Yeah, but it's New Phyrexia, so who cares if they have an ice age or major problems? I know there's still pockets of innocent. Oh, whatever.
Well, also,
Yeah,
Ajani was acting for the Phyrexian, so it's not like he was like, I think this is a morally bad thing to do. This is him being a bad guy going crunch. So it's not like, Karn, I object to this method. Let's sit down and have a discourse. It's like the Borg being, like, yeah, that can go away now.
Look at Karn being a robot and thinking in terms of just net positive.
Yeah.
Dang it, Karn. You're supposed to be better than us. I assume.
Jury's still out, I think.
I mean, he also created Argentum in the first place. That eventually became Mirrored, and that eventually became New Phyrexia.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's what he's thinking. He's like, I brought you into this world, I'll take you out. It doesn't bother me any. I'll make another one look just like you. So what's Karn Silex do there, Dirk?
Well, for 3 mana, it's a mythic legendary artifact. Karn Silex enters the battlefield tapped.
Thank goodness.
Players can't pay life to cast spells or to activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. So all Phyrexian stuff shuts down with this out.
It also shuts down the fetch lands, which is very important.
So for X and tap, exile Karn Silex, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X or less, activate only as a sorcery.
And that's Pernicious Deed?
Yes.
Basically, Pernicious Deed doesn't exile.
And it also destroys specific permanents. It doesn't list like planeswalkers, right? So,
I don't remember.
I'll look it up. First, I have to spell pernicious, but I'll get back to you on that. Pernicious Deed. Destroy each artifact, creature, and enchantment with converted mana cost X or less.
Okay. So yeah, Karn Silex it's like a variation of Pernicious Deed and Nevinyrral's Disc.
Right.
With this nice little can't pay life to cast spells or activate abilities thing that is super sweet. I mean, that's the reason you play it, is to shut off things, and then if you need it later, you've got this reset button.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty sweet. Boom.
Yep.
Karn's like, I got this bowl. I'm gonna make you some stew. I am not eating stew out of that, Karn.
You'll eat it and you'll like it, or you'll blow up.
And you'll blow up.
And maybe you'll blow up too. Did we talk about the Golden Argosy?
We did
I don't
not.
think we did.
What's that do?
It's a vehicle that flies, but it doesn't have flying. So, go figure. It costs 4. It's a legendary artifact vehicle. It is rare. It is a 3/6 when it's a creature. It has crew of 1, so it's super easy to get going. And whenever it attacks, exile each creature that crewed it this turn. Return them to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step.
What?
So this allows you to do all sorts of fun stuff with enters the battlefield triggers. The only catch being, you can't. They do come in tapped, so
That's really neat.
I thought so too.
Why is this? Why does this only crew for 1? Like what?
So you can get anyone in there.
Yeah.
There's no upper limit to the power of creatures you can throw into crewing something. You can pile as many people in the truck as you want.
I mean, true. It just seems like 1 is super low for a 3/6.
You don't need a credit card to ride this boat. You just get on. Again, I think the fact that it costs 4 is the only
I didn't notice before how high it was flying above the surface of the ocean. Yeah, it bugs me that this doesn't have flying now.
I think that
I thought those were rocks at first, but those are buildings.
Yeah, those are definitely buildings. And it might just save your life. Just to keep Brian's reference going.
Thank you.
So yeah, that card's pretty sick.
I think it's kind of almost the de facto like replacement for the Weather Light. Now that the Weather Light is, an evil cyborg.
Weather Knight sounds like a stupid Flash villain from the 70s.
I like how you're being extra specific about being a Flash villain, but it totally makes sense.
Well, I was thinking of the Weather Wizard because that actually was a stupid Flash villain from the 70s.
He didn't even say like DC. He just said the Flash specifically.
Hang on, I gotta look up Weather Wizard now. Weather Wizard. Yeah, but when did he... Oh, no, I'm sorry. He was from 1959. He was an even older stupid Flash villain.
Okay.
Huh. It was before my time. Whatever. Al said of the Golden Argosy, "Get in, losers. We're going blinking." Oh, Chifuji said maybe it ramped a wave. Oh, it doesn't actually fly. It just ramped real hard. You guys played Wave Race. You know how it is.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Lord. What else is cool in artifacts? Oh, look, they reprinted Meteorite. That's neat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I always liked
For a
Meteorite.
minute there, I almost forgot the Meteorite came before Meteor Golem. So I was like, wait, this is No, this was a thing. This was its own thing.
Did it come before it? I can't remember.
Pretty sure?
I don't know.
What was Meteor Golem was from what? Mirrodin block,
Corset,
right?
I'm pretty sure. Really?
I thought it was Corset.
Corset.
None of us know anything.
All right. But anyway, yes, Meteorite is fun. Meteor Golem.
Meteorite was from M15 first.
And Meteor Golem was from M19 first.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, Meteor Golem is not the card I was thinking of.
Oh, what were you thinking?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, it is. I looked at the M19 art. That is totally the card I was thinking of. Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, we've solved that mystery. Oh, we should do Zur, Because Zur is freaking weird.
I like this Zur.
Yeah, I figured you would. Tell us what Zur does.
So Zur, Eternal Schemer, for a white, a blue, and a black, is a legendary mythic 1/4 human wizard with flying. Enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof.
Now, the first time I read that, I saw enchanted creatures, and I went, yeah. But no, it's enchantment creatures.
Yeah.
So here's an activated ability. 1 and a white. Target non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature in addition to its other types and has base power and base toughness each equal to its mana value.
Yeah. And then I read that and I went, I don't understand. And then I went back up and saw enchantment creatures and went, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because you remember the last version of Zur, which I guess was the original version of Zur, because I don't think he didn't have a card in Ice Age, did he?
Correct.
Yeah, the Zur from before, fetched auras from your deck or something like that?
Or any enchantment.
Oh, was it enchantment?
They had to cost 3 or less.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I put it in a deck that focused on auras. That's why I think that. Okay. But yeah, this is not that narrow. All of your it wakes up enchantments and makes them what's the word? Badass.
That is the word.
Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. Buh. So yeah, the only way you're getting rid of them is with some sort of mass removal or by sacrificing a creature, essentially.
Yeah, and in the chat, Razorback just pointed out something that I did not notice before. The ability does not say until end of turn.
Oh, you didn't notice that? No, it does not.
No, I did not notice that.
Zur wakes you up and you stay awake, damn it. Yeah. Zur is neat. And still is a 1/4 with flying and still looks like he has serious problems.
Not only is that not until end of turn, it is instant speed. So you can be like, I play some enchantments, I play Zur, I attack, whatever, and somebody else is like, I'm going to attack you, and then I'm going to be like, all right, I turn, this whatever, this this curse,
this saga,
into a creature. It blocks. Like, okay, great, mine's a 10/10. I'm like, oh, it's a 2/2 with Death Touch.
And I gain 2 life.
And that's where they go, let me read that Zur. Or they put their hand out over it and they go, can I read this? Yep. All right, what else? There's so much stuff going on here. It's hard to...
There is.
Ooh, how about the Goblin?
Okay.
You remember Pashalik Mons? Was that his name?
Yes.
How did I remember that? Well, now we have Rulik Mons, War in Chief.
I think you remember that because it was also called out in the original flavor text for Mons Goblin Raiders.
Oh, was it?
I think.
Huh. So, Rulik Mons, War in Chief, for 1 a red and 2 green, is a 3/3 legendary goblin that's uncommon, and he has Menace. And whenever Rulik Mons, War in Chief, attacks, you look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield tapped. So that's freaking awesome. If you didn't put a card onto the battlefield this way, you create a 1/1 red goblin creature. And note, you're just looking at the top card, so there's no exiling or putting on the bottom. You just look at it, and you can either, oh, look, it's a land, I'll put it on top, or you don't do that, whether it's a land or not, you can choose not to and get an extra dude. And I really like that design there. And you want to attack with him because he's a 3/3 with menace. So yeah, he's cool. Plus he has a very big and very pointy sword thing. Like that's actually too pointy. Could you stop, please?
Got a couple more points on there than you really need.
Yeah, especially the ones that are pointed back towards him. Like, we could just lose those 3. Maybe they're there for balance, but could you make them not pointy?
He's a goblin.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying that,
And he's a Dominaria goblin. Oh, yeah.
they don't necessarily shy away from things that would not be in their best interest. That's all I'm saying.
Let's see. What else we got?
I think we didn't see Shauna last time either.
Shauna.
Like Shauna, yeah. This is Sisei's descendant. And when we saw her in the last set, last Dominaria set, I think she was like she was kind of working her way into being the captain of the Weatherlight. So I'm trying to remember what she did last time, but I think she was different than this. I gotta stop closing Gather. It's bad. Shauna, Sisei's legacy. Oh, that's right. She can't be the target of abilities your opponents control, and she was a 0/0 that got +1/+1 for each creature you control. This time. And she was just green and white. Now she's got blue, so she's the full band, as we say. And she is a 3/3.
Nobody says that. I just want to be clear.
Am I going to turn it into a thing? You don't know.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Right. So, she's a 3/3 for 3. She's a legendary human warrior. She is mythic. She's a 3/3 with lifelink. And at the beginning of your end step, you may pay X. If you do, draw X cards. X can't be greater than the amount of life that you have gained this turn.
Ooh, that's neat.
I like it. It's an interesting way of doing like a Sphinx's Revelation sort of thing without it being very dumb. Hopefully.
Yeah, like its power is in check, but it makes you want to attack with your creature. Like, this is always, especially in Commander, like this is always a thing where there just end up being board stalls.
Yeah.
And I love like Rulik Mons and Shauna here that make you want to attack with your creatures. Now, granted, if you have other ways to gain life during your turn, then you don't necessarily need to attack with her to get value out of her. Which is fine, because if you attack with her, she might not survive, so you might not draw cards. Because, she has to still be on the battlefield. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And a funny thing just happened in chat. Planeswalker Pat said, have they looked at Urborg Lurgoyf? And I said, thinking, because, we refer to things as by what they do. So I was thinking it was like a Lurgoyf from Urborg. And I said, maybe, what's it called? And he said, Urborg Lurgoyf. And then Mike popped up in the Twitch chat being a smartass. Did you really just ask that? Shut up! Bite me. I thought he meant he was using it. Shut up. I don't know. Did we talk about Urborg Lurgoyf? I can't say that word either.
So.
No, not yet.
It's in green. Hey, Dirk, you like green things.
Oh, here it is. Did we talk about this? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Urborg Lurgoyf. For 1 and a green, it's a rare Lurgoyf that has kicker of blue and or black. It's a star, 1+ star in terms of its power and toughness. As Urborg Lurgoyf enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards for each time it was kicked. Urborg Lurgoyf power is equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to that number +1.
Huh.
Hmm.
That's. I don't know how I feel about this card.
It's fine. It's not terrifying like certain Lurgoyfs.
Yeah, since it's only your graveyard.
Right.
Although it does still only cost 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, is if you're running a creature-heavy deck, then this is awesome.
Yeah, like, if you've got a good number of creatures in your deck, then and it's turn 3, and you can kick it once, like, you could drop, like, a 3/4 without too much trouble. That's assuming something died already. Like,
Yeah.
Like, you played a 1-drop and it died, and then the next turn you drop Urborg Lurgoyf and mill 2 more creatures, and you're like, oh, sick. Not entirely sure how I feel about it, though. I do love the art. Look at that. It's a big Lurgoyf thing with, like, dead things writing on it.
Yeah.
I can't tell what those are supposed to be. They look like
dead elves.
green flaming skeletons. Oh. We haven't seen Threats Undetected yet either, have we?
No, we haven't.
This seems like a Mike card.
Yeah, so green gets another Gifts Ungiven variant. So Threats Undetected is 2 and a green for a sorcery this time. It's rare. Search your library for up to 4 creature cards with different powers and reveal them.
Let me stop you right there. The first time I read this card, my brain did not connect the word powers there with power and toughness. And I was like, are we calling creature abilities powers now? What?
We are.
What?
We are. Haven't you
What
heard?
does that even mean? Like, activated ability? Can this get vanilla? And like, I had those thoughts for, I don't know, like a second and a half before I went, oh, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, they introduced that tech in the recent Innistrad sets. The Coven mechanic relies on things having different powers. So they introduced that vocabulary tech then. I mean, I think it was always possible, but it was never really used that way.
And when I have a power and you have a power, and when we combine those powers, something happens. But anyway, keep going. You weren't done reading the card yet.
Show to the Unifighter. Okay, so 4 creature cards, different powers, reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Shuffle the chosen cards into your library and put the rest into your hand. I think they learned a lesson about some of the true power of Gifts Ungiven.
I think you might be right.
Though?
By not having them go into the graveyard, yeah, they learned something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what you meant. Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I mean, I like this card.
Mm-hmm.
It seems good for all sorts of formats. In limited, I would be like, sure, let me go get 4 creatures out of my deck and end up with 2 of them at least. So I'll pay 2 and a green to draw 2 creatures. Sure.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah.
That's just in limited, to say nothing of stuff in constructed.
Yeah. Now it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to choose things that are close enough in utility where you won't be, sad with whatever your opponent gives you.
Oh. Oh, now I'm sad. Dirk, you seeing anything interesting?
Mhm.
Oh, holy cow! Look at this monkey man. Well, sorry, Dirk. I asked a question.
What? What?
What? Are you talking about the Silverback Elder?
Yes, that is.
Oh god, that card is so
freaky.
busted.
I haven't read this card at all.
Oh god.
Got
Okay.
beautiful art though.
Yeah, Brian, you gotta read this card because I want to hear your brain
Read this
break.
card, huh? You want to hear my brain break? Is it gonna make an interesting sound?
I hope so.
All right.
It's an
Find
audio
out.
podcast.
So for 2 and 3 green, I'm literally reading this for the first time. 2 and 3 green. It's mythic. It's an ape shaman. I don't see any monkeys like getting it on in the background. Okay, it's a 5/7. Whenever you cast a creature spell, choose 1. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. That feels like it could be easily abused. Look at the top. Oh, geez, so many words. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Tap. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order, or you gain 4 life.
So,
I mean,
like, I read this card and I went, "That's really freaking good for 5 mana." And then my brain saw that it was a 5/7, and I heard the sound of shattering glass, and I woke up 2 hours later drooling. Like, why is this a 5/7? Someone in the Discord, it might have been Pinball, said, like, why isn't this just a 4/4? Like, this as a 4/4 would be really good.
Yeah.
For
But now
5 mana.
It really will completely take over a game.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that gets me is whenever you cast a creature spell.
Yeah.
So it's not like when this comes into play when this enters the battlefield, choose one of these. That would have been, but the fact is it's in green, the
yes.
color where you play lots of creatures.
But I'm actually okay. I'm okay with that. Do you know why? Because it prevents this from going off rapid fire with tokens. So I'm okay. I'm okay with the whole when you cast a creature spell, because most times when you cast a creature spell, you're using mana to cast it. So there's at least more investment on your part versus like play this guy, then untap and play a spell that gets you like 4 tokens.
Like, so it says cast a creature spell, so.
Exactly. I'm saying that this doesn't happen that way.
I zoned out for a second. But, like, I mean, well, like, once you hit 6 mana, you go, okay, Silverback Elder, 1 drop. And just ruin someone's whole day.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know why this card is so buff. But it is very buff, and that scares me.
Yeah, it's a weird stat line.
Especially for 5 mana. Like, sure, 3 of it's green, but come on, man.
Yeah. This is an unreasonably buff gorilla, which that is saying something.
Right?
No, I just happen to be scrolling up and I happen to see it. But so Dirk, for real, like, did you see a card that really kind of caught your attention?
The thing that I was kind of looking at were all the sagas. I was reading through a couple of them.
Okay.
Ooh, like what?
Urza assembles the Titans. I don't know if we talked about that one.
What color is that?
We did not.
White.
We did not.
All the way at the top.
Yeah, I saw this one earlier.
Okay, what's that do?
So for 3 and 2 white, it's a rare saga. Read ahead is one of the abilities it has. So first level to it, it's got Scry 4. Then you may reveal the top card of your library. If a Planeswalker card is revealed this way, put it into your hand.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. All right, second chapter.
Okay, hold
You
up.
may put...
Like, that doesn't even matter if you miss, because you still got a scry 4 in white.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
For five mana, but still.
Well, but there's more to come, so, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But still, a scry 4 in white, that's not a thing. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, keep going.
Chapter 2. You may put a Planeswalker card with mana value 6 or less from your hand onto the battlefield.
Oh.
So you scryed for it, and then when it comes around to your turn, you can just put it onto the battlefield without paying for it.
Huh.
6 is very high.
6 is very high. 6
All
is
right.
not quite Snoop Dogg high, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
All right. And Chapter 3. You may activate the loyalty abilities of Planeswalkers you control twice this turn rather than only once.
Jesus. Planeswalkers, plural. So for all of your Planeswalkers, you can do 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
Buh. Okay, well that makes my take on missing, if you whiff with the first one, it's not so bad. It's kind of bad. You need a Planeswalker in your hand. Or at least on the battlefield. Wow. That's...
Oh, I'm just thinking of all the Planeswalkers where we've had a couple where wasn't it you only had to do the first ability twice and then it had enough loyalty counters to set off its
that is a
limit
thing,
break?
yeah.
There are a few.
Wow.
Yeah. This seems completely ridiculous and completely. I'm wondering if I'm going to pull any of these on when I go with Mike to our first physical pre-release in a long time. I wonder how many of these I'm going to pull with no Planeswalkers, because with no Planeswalkers, this is pay 5, scry 4, do nothing else.
Yeah.
Which
With
I've
no Planeswalkers,
seen
this is
worse.
don't put this in your deck.
Yeah. Ooh, I could play this and scry 4 and then play Zur.
Yes.
But I'm still gonna lose it in 2 more turns, aren't I? Because it's still
the story will come to an end.
But really impressive for a minute there. Have you seen temporary lockdown right next to it?
No.
This is kind of a fascinating card. O-ring effects. Well, for 1 and 2 white, it's a rare enchantment. It's temporary lockdown. When temporary lockdown enters the battlefield, exile each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less until temporary lockdown leaves the battlefield. Includes yours, theirs, everybody's. Everybody rides.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the flavor text is neat. Any one of us could be compromised, said Karn. No one leaves until we know who can be trusted. How do you figure that out exactly?
Well, in the story, they kind of teleported to this area and pressed a button and shut the whole thing down. And then they were kind of wandering through, and Karn kept telling each person when he was alone with them, this is where I hid the Stylix, and was trying to basically wait for somebody to like go nuts. And surprise, surprise, for anyone that hasn't read the story, I don't know. Well, it's been out for a couple weeks now, but surprise, surprise, it turned out to be the character that we had never seen before, and wasn't a Planeswalker. So, didn't really. This was prior to the whole Ajani thing, so didn't have quite the same impact.
Ooh,
but that's okay. Not everything has to be a gut punch.
Chifuji said, when I said, how do you do that with Phyrexians, Chifuji said, the Thing style blood test. And if you haven't seen John Carpenter's The Thing, what is wrong with you? And yeah, there are, God, how many O-rings are there in white in this set? It's 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah.
I saw someone had a picture of all of them together, and I was like, that's too many for one set.
Yeah, it feels like a lot.
Well, and this is interesting because this one is a hit lots of things O-ring. It may be limited to small things, but if you're doing this right and you're kind of setting this up, you could really take advantage of a board like this.
Yeah, it's a really good anti-aggro.
Anti-token.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like a white pirate class. White infest, I guess, would be more accurate since it costs 3.
Oh! I don't know if the mic picked it up, but I leaned back and my chair popped and it scared me.
I heard your reaction, but not the mic itself.
Well, then, Mike, speak up. Oh, we should do the knights. Because this is a long-standing tradition in Magic. In white, we've got the Knight of Dawn's Light. For 1 and a white, is a 2/2 uncommon human knight. It has first strike. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. And for 1 and a white, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Nice and simple, and really gets you some extra life gain.
I really like self-pumping creatures with first strike.
Yes.
And yeah, self-pumping creatures with first strike are pretty good. So then we go down to black. And there's the Knight of Dusk's Shadow, which is a 2/2 human knight that's uncommon. For 1 and a black, it has Menace instead of first strike. For 1 and a black, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And your opponents can't gain life. Ba-dum-bum. Just a nice little night cycle. I don't know what you call those. There have been opposing knights in Magic in black and white since freaking Alpha.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And they pop up occasionally, and they always make me happy. Even in Planar Chaos, we had what? Red and green? Red.
I remember the red one.
Yeah, it was Blood Knight. Maybe it was it red and blue? I can't remember now.
I don't know if there was one.
Or maybe they just did the red one.
Yeah, I think Blood Knight was just the alternate version of what Black Knight could have been.
Oh, okay. Missed a trick there, I think. So, hey, chat, any cards you want us to make sure we don't miss? Because we're going to miss them if you don't tell us. On purpose. Because we're bastards. Oh, hey, Dragon Whelp. Oh, look at him.
Yes, for real. Actual Dragon Whelp.
He's cute. Also, wow, Dragon Whelp. That's cool. Ooh. Okay, wait, here's a saga that looks awesome. I haven't read it. It's called The Elder Dragon War in red.
Okay.
So for 2 red, it is a saga with read ahead, because I think they all do in the set have read ahead.
All of them in this set, yeah.
Okay. Chapter 1. The Elder Dragon War deals 2 damage to each creature and each opponent. Oh. Okay. Well, that's worth 4, I think. Nah, that'd be worth 3, I think.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah. Chapter 2. Discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards. Oh, okay. That's cool. And then chapter 3 is create a 4/4 dragon with flying. Okay. Yeah, I like this card.
Mm-hmm.
I think the read ahead is probably going to get used more in this one than Annie.
I don't know. That
Is
first ability's really good.
Yeah, but the white one was very synergetic. This one seems to be just here's 3 random red abilities.
True. Yeah, it's true. If you don't need the pyroclasm effect, then 4 for a dragon is fine. Excuse me. Did we ever talk about Citizen's Arrest? I'm gonna guess that's.
I don't think
white.
we did.
Citizen Rest.
It's an O-ring effect with really interesting art.
I don't think we talked about this one. No. Why is this a combination of the Terminator and Total Recall?
Two Arnold films. All
right, what? Hang on, I have something in my eye. What's Citizen's Arrest do?
Citizen's Arrest for 1 and 2 white is a common enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls until Citizen's Arrest leaves the battlefield.
Oh, so it's an O-ring. Okay.
Yeah.
They can hit planeswalkers. And yeah, the art. For anyone listening to the audio version of this, you should look up the art for Citizen's Arrest, because it is literally a dude has been tied up with a rope or with a whip, and there's a guy behind him pointing at him, and his head has separated into 2 halves with a Phyrexian head underneath, and it looks like his hand is also separating from his arm. Buh. What does lurk behind the faces of those you think you can trust? Ugh.
Shadow knows.
Maybe. I don't know. I get the feeling the Shadow would be like, dude, what the hell? Could you not? Oh, hey, there's a new Danitha. Danitha.
What does
Is that
she
right?
do? Danitha? Yeah.
Yeah, Danitha. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought that was how you said it. I don't know. Danitha Benalia's Hope for 4 and a white is a 4/4 legendary human knight. She's rare. Danitha has First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. Okay. When Danitha Benalia's Hope enters the battlefield, you may put an aura or equipment card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield attached to Danitha.
What was that Eldrazi aura?
Jesus.
Eldrazi Conscription.
Conscription, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool. There's really nothing to say, though, because, like, she's just good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just find your favorite big aura or one that gives hexproof. Find your favorite expensive equipment. Have fun.
Yeah, go ham. Ham, I say. Yep.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
You know what actually I find interesting is this uncommon that's directly above her. Hey, Chewy, read Cleaving... Wait, you just read Danitha. Hey, Mike, read Cleaving Skyrider. This is interesting.
Cleaving Skyrider for 2 and a red is an uncommon...
No.
Huh?
No.
2 and a white.
There you go.
Sorry, I read ahead like all of the sagas in this card.
This card does not have read ahead, Mike.
No, it doesn't. 2 and a white for a 2/2 human warrior with flash and flying and kicker of 2 and a red. And when it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of attacking creatures.
Huh. That's...
It doesn't say your attacking creatures.
Yeah, just any attack.
Oh, it does not.
Yeah, someone could be attacking you, and you could, shoot at something based on their attackers, or you could be the one attacking. Cleaving Skyrider could jump in and
Wow.
I mean, it can even go directly to your opponent's head. It doesn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can pick off a defender with it, or after the damage is dealt, you could shoot them in the face as long as you do it before combat's over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is cool. Plus, I love the art because it's a dude riding a Pegasus with a, I can't say that on the show, with a big ass axe. I was gonna say a big F off axe. I guess I could say that, but yeah, I like that card. That is cool for an enchantment, or for an uncommon.
Yeah.
Look, it has read ahead, so it's an enchantment, right? Oh, we didn't read Rada either. Rada's gold, right?
Yeah.
Where I don't know how to alphabet. There she is. Hey, what's Rada?
Sorry, you don't know how to alphabet?
Yeah, I don't alphabet good. Goodlier. I don't English good either. You have to learn to alphabet before you can learn to English. Anyway, what's Rada do?
Where's she at?
Gold.
Oh, you're making me run all up and down like
Yeah,
white gold,
I finally
gold.
got there.
There's a scroll bar over on the side. You grab it and you drag. It takes a second.
Well, that's where I have the Twitch chat window. It's covering up the scroll bar.
Oh my god.
I found something really interesting in blue, but I guess we're going to gold now. So I'll let somebody else talk about Rada, and then I'll wait up here.
Oh, for God's sake. Rada, Coalition Warlord, for 2, a red and a green, is an uncommon, really, legendary elf warrior who has domain. Ooh. Also, Rada is a 3/3. Whenever Rada Coalition Warlord becomes tapped, for any reason, another target creature you control gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. But she can't just tap. So it's when she attacks, or crews something, or tap another untapped creature you control. That sort of thing.
That's okay.
There's
So
a couple
she can't-
things.
She can't give the bonus to a vehicle that she's crewing because it won't be a creature yet by the time that you need to pick a target for her ability.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
there's a
'cause her
couple.
ability will end up on top of the crew ability activation.
Gotcha. What was that, B?
There's a couple things here that seem to care about go ahead and like do this when this becomes tapped, not necessarily attacking.
Yeah. Well, that's because of enlist, I'm sure. Because
Yeah,
enlist,
sure.
remember, it taps the creature that you're enlisting, which chat just pointed out.
Yeah.
Chat pointed out
But,
that it helps tap her, and also she can buff the enlist efforts herself, which seems
there's
kind of
also
roundabout, but yeah.
Still in gold, there's also Zar Ojanin, scion of Ifrava, if I'm reading that right.
Yeah.
It's a tiger lady.
Yeah,
Legendary
you remember
creature.
Jedit Ojanin.
I think so.
We just talked about how it wasn't mythic like 3 weeks ago.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yes. Sorry. But so this is a 4/4. It's uncommon. They're uncommon. Domain. Whenever this card becomes tapped, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with toughness less than the number of basic land types among lands you control.
Wow.
That's potentially very large.
That's
not,
neat.
Yeah.
Like it keeps, Making it a domain ability keeps it from being like silly.
Yeah, it doesn't go on forever.
Wow, that's neat design. I'm saying that a lot about the cards in this set specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's a frog beast.
There's a frog beast? Where's that?
2 over from it. Erg.
Oh.
That is how that's pronounced, is Erg.
Erg.
Tell us about Erg.
Erg. Spawn of Turg. I don't like this card anymore.
Well, Dirk, what's this do? Because Chewie doesn't like it anymore.
Erg, Spawn of Turg. For black, green, it's a star 5 uncommon frog beast. That's legendary. Erg, Spawn of Turg's power is equal to the number of land cards in your graveyard.
Ooh.
At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard.
Ooh.
So black and green, sacrifice a land, you gain 2 life.
Oh, and it pumps itself.
Is that Overgrown Estate?
No, that one was 3 life. Zurin Orb was the sack of land, gain 2 life.
Yeah.
But that costs 0.
But
and 0 mana to do. But
probably this shouldn't cost 0 to activate, because you could just like play this guy and then, attack.
Yeah, attack, no blocks. Brrr. Wow. That is definitely a frog beast. Yeah, I'll give it that. Also, look at the tiny little type line on the card next to it. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Merfolk Wizard. Phenomenal cosmic powers, itty bitty type line.
Sorry, I glanced away for a second. Which one is that?
The one right next to it. I was just looking at the type line. It's very tiny.
It is incredibly tiny.
I guess we should read it. Vohar Vodalian Desecrator. Oh yeah, I already don't like this card just from the name. For a blue and a black, I already read the type line. It's an uncommon that's 1/2. Alright, what does this thing do? Tap to draw a card, then discard a card. If you discarded an instant or sorcery card this way, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Oh, that's cool. And then pay 2 and sacrifice Vohar. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. And if that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Activate only as a sorcery. Huh. That's something. I don't know. I just looked way too close at the art, and there are pieces of that thing missing. Why are Phyrexians gross? But yeah, chat just pointed out it's a one-shot flashback. Which is neat. And that's why I don't know how I feel about it. Because, flashback makes my non-blue playing self go, ugh. Right. Okay, then. So, Brian, speaking of blue, you said you saw stuff in blue.
I did see stuff in blue.
What did you see in blue?
Well, who likes Howling Mine?
Ooh, I like Howling Mine.
Yeah, like everybody, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think of Academy Lore Master?
I think that card's really freaking cool.
So, for 2 blue, a human wizard, not legendary, rare, 2/3. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player may draw an additional card. No cost associated with that up front. You don't have to pay anything for it, anything like that. But if they do, and of course this is each player, but if they do, spells they cast this turn cost 2 generic more to cast. I think that's really awesome.
That is. And notice that applies to you too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I mean, it's probably not good. But the design on it, the balance on it is really freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would... I don't know when that's worth it. I guess, like, especially later in the game when you've got plenty of mana and not plenty of cards, you know, it's freaking amazing. But at any other point in the game, I'm not sure. Although it is still a 2-3 for 2, which, you know, is good by itself.
And I mean, early in the game, if you're just like playing some lands, you probably, I mean, yes, you don't want to have too many cards in your hand, but still, more cards is more cards, better card selection. So if all you're doing is mostly just throwing down cards, you're probably throwing down lands. You're probably okay if your spells cost a little more because you may or may not be playing a whole lot early. I think this really kind of punishes an aggro deck. If you're playing against a red deck and you get to put this down on your turn too, they're probably not going to be able to really take advantage of it for a while because they need to be playing their stuff.
Yeah, and
You know,
need
I
to be
wasn't
playing
even...
your stuff to stay alive.
I wasn't even thinking of this as an... like, something for your opponents. I was thinking of it purely for myself.
I'm just saying, like, yeah.
Yeah, this could easily be like a turn or two of... well, then they're just going to draw more cards so they can burn you out faster after they kill it. I don't know.
If they kill it, then they don't get advantage of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They get a few cards.
Doesn't matter if they're about to win.
Yeah, an aggressive deck doesn't need to draw extra cards forever. Like an extra 1 or 2 is probably all they need.
That's probably correct.
Yeah, I have no idea how to value this card. I really love the design on it.
I feel like it's kind of like the Howling Mine. Nobody's going to want to kill it. Like, who's going to be that guy that's like, yeah, there's this thing that everybody likes, so I'm going to just be the one to pull the trigger.
I mean, I've done that.
You'll do it when you have to.
Because you probably like it more than I do because it's in your deck, so screw you. I'm going to wait till after I get to draw a card, though, you know. Anyway. What else? Oh, here's a Djinn. Djinn of the Fountain for 4 blue. This is a 4/4 uncommon Djinn with flying. Okay. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, choose one. Oh, okay. Djinn of the Fountain gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Or exile Djinn of the Fountain, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Or scry 1. That is a bizarre limited card.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly it's made for limited, but like, and scry 1 is your default choice there, I guess. +1/+1 until end turn is probably your default choice unless there's something in the way. But the fact that you can cast an unrelated instant to save it from removal is really nice. Yeah. Oh, Oh, hey, Impulse. Hey!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Impulse.
Just good old Impulse.
Impulse is from what? Mirage? Visions?
Visions.
Wow. Isn't that where we first got Teferi? Like, not the card.
Yeah,
the
we first started hearing from Teferi in Mirage Block.
Yeah. So Impulse, for anyone who doesn't know, for 1 and a blue, it's a common instant. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put 1 in your hand and the rest on the bottom, in any order. Boom. Nice and simple.
And that was the last time it was released in a standard legal set.
Really?
Yeah. Besides that, it's been printed in like box sets and precons and Battle Bond.
Battle Bond, Beatdown, From the Vault 20, Dual Deck, Speed versus Cunning. Wow, you're right. Wow. How is it? Okay.
Here's an interesting bit of trivia. Impulse was originally printed with an erroneous bit of extra text at the end, telling you to shuffle your library after you put the rest of the cards on the bottom.
Whoops.
And they removed that with errata not too long after.
Oh, wow, that is kind of dumb. I thought when I was reading it, I was like, this doesn't sound right, but I can't think of why. It's like, I remember Impulse being not that great. That's why. I guess that might make it better, depending on what you're trying to do, but still.
Yeah.
Awkward. Phyrexian espionage in blue. Birds aren't real. They're spies.
Yep.
Sorry. Ooh, you know what we haven't looked at all? Red. What's in red?
I haven't really looked at red. We talked about the saga with the dragons.
Yeah.
But really nothing besides that.
Flowstone Kavu, that's not a reprint, is it?
It's hard to tell.
Oh, let me look. Flowstone Kavu. Nope. Not a reprint. Okay. Because it really looks like it could be. I mean, Flowstone creatures had, most of the time, pay a red, and it gets +1/-1 until end of turn.
Yes.
And this one is no exception. And it's a 2/3 for 2 and a red with Menace, which could easily have been printed back in the day. It just would have not said Menace. It would have read out what it says, or what Menace is. Look at him bringing back Flow. And there's Flowstone Infusion, which is a reprint, isn't it? Ooh, that might not be either.
No.
No, it's not. Okay.
I mean, Flowstone Infusion is... Oh, it's just until end of turn. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's basically Immolation, but no. Immolation's an aura.
Yeah. Look at red getting toughness subtraction removal. Wow.
Yeah, it's like...
So Flowstone Infusion for single red is an instant that says target creature gets +2/-2 until end of turn. Nice and simple, but very not red. Except that Flowstone was always red, so... Huh. Oh yeah, did you see the Chuck's little brother?
Mm-hmm.
The Hurler Cyclops? Last time I went to Carowinds, I did not ride the Hurler. Because of what this card does. Hurler Cyclops, since no one else is speaking up. Hurler Cyclops for 3 red is a 5/4 uncommon Cyclops. It says pay 1 and sack another creature. Hurler Cyclops deals 1 damage to any target. So yeah, but he doesn't have to tap. He could just throw things to ping all day as long as you've got mana. And, dudes to throw. So that's cool. Nothing super fancy, but cool. Always good to have a sacrifice outlet somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Not much going on in red, is there?
Not especially.
Except for the
Except for
Shivan
Phoenix
Devastator.
Chick, and we talked about that last time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
I
Shivan
think
Devastator, and we talked about that last time.
Yeah, I think we kind of covered most of the stuff last time.
Oh, Twinferno. We did not do Twinferno. Did we? I don't think so.
No.
Somebody read Twinferno, because that card's silly.
Inferno, for 1 and a red, it is an uncommon instant. Choose one. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, or target creature you control gains double strike until end of turn. So, do you want a double striking creature, or do you want a fork?
Either way, it doubles something.
Yes.
Which is just flavorfully cool. But yeah, I saw someone, I think it was on Facebook, which means it was probably Will Blanks, who was like, back in my day, forks cost this much mana and didn't do extra nonsense.
Your day sucked.
It really did. We did talk about the original Squee. But yeah, we seem to have run out of steam here.
Yeah, it's getting a little late. I do think we've covered most of the interesting stuff.
Yeah, we missed a bunch of the nifty legendaries, but there are so many that it would be hard not to. So yeah, I think what we should do is go ahead and call this episode done. A little short because school has started up again, which means Dirk's got to get up early, and probably Brian's got to get up early, and everybody's got to get up early except for me because I'm a bum. Although I think it was Dirk pointed out after we got done with the stream last week, the basic lands are really pretty.
That they are.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like them.
This Plains by Johannes Voss with the, I guess that's a portal or something broken off in the distance.
I guess it's really big to be a portal.
It is, isn't it? I don't know what that is, but look at that. That's gorgeous. But anyway. Okay. So yeah, let's call this episode and go to bed. And at some point, I'm gonna go ahead and say this now to so people keep us honest. At some point, maybe not next episode, but at some point, I think we want to look at the DMC cards, the commander cards that are the old legendaries from Legends.
Yes.
And just do a whole episode of just comparing the old versions to the new versions. I think that would be just a fun episode to do. Look at the art and the flavor text for those old vanilla ass, overcosted and really bad legendaries, and compare them to what the new ones are, mechanically and flavor wise. So yeah, let us know if you think that would be a fun idea, because we think it's going to be a fun idea, so we're probably just going to do it. Yay!
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So, how about we let Dirk go to bed? So, hey, Dirk, you got any final thought thingies? You know those.
Not in particular. It's this has been the first full week of school. Everything's been pretty calm and everything so far this semester, so hoping everything continues and looking for some Looking for a good semester.
Yay.
So, that. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night,
night.
Zerk. Dirk does not mess around. I asked him once. I was like, Dirk, do you mess around? And he slapped me right in the face.
He did. It was loud.
It was. Oh my God. Random question. And this might be seen as like inappropriate, but this happened last night. Amanda and the kid came over and we watched the first 2 episodes of She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And they were picking on each other and play fighting. And Amanda like reached out and slapped her on I think it was on the leg or the shoulder or something like that. And it made this loud pop sound that made us all stop and make sure the kid was okay. Even though Amanda wasn't like trying to hurt her or anything, they were picking. And I was like, have you ever noticed moms have the ability to smack you in such a way that it sounds terrible? Like, especially like, because we're older now, and back in the day, moms would smack their kids, just shut up. Psst. Well, at least some of it. Mine did. Mom would smack me if I was acting up in public. But like,
I'd get a pop on the hand or the arm if I was doing something bad and needed to stop.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, my mom didn't really swing at me in public. She would grab my ear and twist slightly, which shuts you up immediately. But
I didn't really act up, so I got spanked, but only ever at home, and always with a fly swatter, which sounds much worse than it was. But that's the whole point. Is it really doesn't do any damage? It just the whap scares you as a kid. So.
And I think that's like some sort of maternal instinct of how to hold your hand so that it makes the loud ass whap sound that makes a kid like go, huh? That was the thought that I had last night, because like I said, Amanda wasn't trying to, smack the hell out of the kid. But she did. Like, it was enough to make us all freeze and be like, oh God, are you okay? Yeah? Oh. That was just really loud. Anyway. I'm sure this makes Amanda sound like a terrible mother. That's not what I'm going for here. They were picking on each other. It was fun. Anyway. Dirk did not hold his hand that way when he smacked me that one time that we totally didn't make up for comedic effect. No. Okay, anyway, more final thoughts. I'm going to keep digging this hole if I don't shut up.
I'm also heading out because it's late and I'm old, and I have work tomorrow. But this was fun, and as I have either alluded to or outright said, I am looking forward to playing it my first physical pre-release since the apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
And Mike is supposed to be going with me unless he is chickened out.
As of right now, I have not yet chickened out.
Excellent.
I wasn't invited because they knew I would be... Chickening out is the wrong word. They knew that I would not go.
You want to come?
No.
All right, then. You guys have a good night, and I will talk to you guys on the morrow. You're a morrow. Yeah.
Wait, is the morrow like a river? Are we going to be floating along and you're going to be talking to us?
You have to decide if you're going to caulk the wagon or like ride it across.
I always chose wrong every damn time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody did. Good night, guys.
Good night.
All right. Night, B. It's like, oh, half of your supplies washed away. Did they?
through dumb luck, I had gotten farther than I had ever gotten playing the game. And I still wasn't any good, so I didn't understand the mechanics, so I just decided to ford the last river. That was like 20 feet deep in the middle.
Whoops.
So everyone drowned.
Naturally. Chifuji said, I do miss those 3 questions you'd recorded events. Yeah, but I don't miss the editing. I always hated that. It was such fun to do, but then when it came to put them together, it took forever because I hate editing audio with a fiery passion. And guess what you have to do a lot of with those episodes? I don't know why. I can edit video all day and love it, but audio it just makes me want to hurt people. Like Dirk for slapping me. That he totally did. That's definitely a real thing and not at all made up. You wouldn't know the slap. It lives in Canada. Anyway, for you youngins that might be listening, the game they were referring to is Oregon Trail, just so you know. Ask your parents, or maybe grandparents at this point. I don't even know. Anyway, what about you, Mike? What you got going on?
Yeah, I'm excited to go to the event for the first time in a while. Ash is out of town visiting her sister, so relearning how to live alone. Living alone kind of sucks. I'm glad I don't do it anymore.
You know I'm right here, right?
Yeah. Well, you're good at it. I'm no good at it anymore.
I don't know about all that.
Okay, well, I'm no good at it anymore. There's no one else to help fix dinner, fold the laundry, or run the dishwasher, or check the mail, or anything.
See, the secret is just don't do those things. There, that was easy.
Which is what I used to do every once in a while, but that caused its own problems.
That reminds me, I really should check the mail.
Hmm.
Like, because I don't get mail that matters. Like, all the bills that I have are, paperless.
Mm-hmm.
So, literally, the only thing I get in the mail is crap. So, I don't ever check the mail. And I think the mailman hates me. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
I might have to go do that tomorrow. Excuse me again. Anyway. Well, when's she coming back?
Well, next week I'm going to follow along to meet her. She's off visiting her sister. And then next week I'm going to go also be out of town and stay with them. And then we're both coming back on the 15th.
Good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I should have got 2 weeks vacation. Holy crap.
Yeah.
In 2022? How does that happen? Man. All right, then. You know what you should do?
What?
You should come see me while she's gone. We will do bachelor things. Like burp and fart and play res
Right.
and the quest. Those are bachelor things, right? I don't know what bachelors do.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe not the burping and farting part. Well, okay, definitely the burping part, because that just happens, but...
Yeah.
I'll try not to fart in front of you. Even though you're one of my best friends, I'll still try not to fart in front of you. That's love right there, chat. Anyway.
Oh, I see in chat, Razorback says there's an Oregon Trail card game thing I got for Christmas last year, but I haven't had a chance to play it. Okay. Look it up online. There are some suggestions from the manufacturer and from players for like some errata to cards and rules to make certain things make more sense and play better. So look that up. Try to look that up before you try to play it. Because there's some things in the game as is that are difficult to understand or don't feel like they work the way they were intended.
Huh. Look at Mike just being all over this.
Yeah, Ashley and I got a copy from, got a used copy from Ed McKay's bookstore a while back. And when I was just reading through the rules, I got to a certain point where I'm like, wait a minute. Because there was something important that was being referenced that was not sufficiently explained the first time that it came up earlier in the rules. And I'm like, what? So I had to go online and look up some things.
Huh. Good to know. It's like Impulse doesn't say shuffle anymore. Weird. All right. Well, I guess that leaves me. What am I even doing? I'm trying to get the next Cuphead video out, but for some reason my video editing software despises my Cuphead videos and wants to crash constantly. At the same time, not literally at the same time, but at the same time I'm working on the next JWST video and it hasn't crashed once. And that's loaded with way more files and images and audio and the video and just all of that, all kinds of stuff that's just in there and it doesn't crash. But the Cuphead stuff crashes constantly. So I don't know if there's something up with that raw video file or what, but like I did the first third of the video, which was the one fight, and then I did the end because I found the run where I beat it, and I was like, okay, I'll have that one be an entire run. And then there was a whole lot of stuff after that, so I had to flip through that, watch through that and see what it was, and edit that up. And I was like, okay, there's just the bulk of the attempt at this other boss. It was like only like 22 minutes, I think, of raw footage. I was like, psh, let me knock that out. And no, it will not. It's like, I'm crashing. Shut up. No, crashing again. Bite me. No, you don't get to see how this life ends. And I don't know why. So that's why that's taken a while to come out. Also, over the last few days, I got 4 odds and ends posted, finally. They're older ones. So that's good. My next task on those is to get caught back up with the current ones. Because there for a while I was posting the current ones as the show came out. And then that sort of went by the wayside. But I'll get caught up on those so that the current ones are, or the recent ones are all up. So I can go back to the older ones again. But I think there were 5 that were already sitting there waiting for me to listen through. So I did. Just, a night when I was trying to do Cuphead stuff and couldn't, but still felt like being productive. I was like, I know, odds and ends. And yes. So that's good. And yeah, don't forget, check out the Deep End, the new YouTube channel. At the moment, it's only got the 2 JWST videos. It'll have 2 more very soon. Hopefully, I can get the 3rd one all put together and finished up and posted tomorrow. I hope. I sound doubtful. I was going to get a lot done today, and then I spent an hour on the phone as tech support for my parents.
Right.
So, which robbed not only my time that I was going to use to get stuff done, but also my will to live. So, yeah. But all right. So, speaking of odds and ends, hey, you can help support what I do here with, let's see, 2, soon to be 3, hopefully, YouTube channels, and streams on Twitch all the time, and the podcast that I do. Like, that's all me. Which, the more I think about that, the more... Oh, and there's all the behind-the-scenes stuff, too. That's also all me. I really hope that I can start making more money doing this so I can hire an editor. But... or hire somebody to do something. Jesus Christ. But, yeah, if you want to help support what I do is this... I say one-man show, even though this show in particular has 4 of us. But you know what I mean. Then
yeah, you do all the actual work.
Yeah. Then go to patreon.com/themanapool. You can be a lifeguard there, which gets you early access to the podcast and the deep end videos specifically. I think, like I said before, I think I'm going to stop posting every regular like Manapool video there just because no one ever watches them. So posting them it's just clogging up people's Patreon, like their email. So I'm probably going to stop doing that. It'll make posting videos a lot easier too, because I don't have to be like, crap, I can't do this till tomorrow. I can just post stuff whenever. But deep end videos are still going to go up. Podcasts are still going to go up. All the behind the scenes stuff, which the odds and ends, which is the behind the scenes nonsense. There are just hundreds of those up on the Patreon already. And I'm trying to get caught up. Oddly enough, the ones that I posted weren't super depressing because they were from the middle of 2021. No, the beginning of 2021. I'm guessing the depressing bit will happen later? Huh. I can also tell when you guys started D&D because there are just chunks right in the middle of Brian suddenly deciding, okay, now is a good time to set up D&D stuff, so I have to delete that because no one cares about listening to you guys try to schedule things.
Right.
Brian has not gotten any better about that. So for like all the odds and ends going forward, I'm going to have to find that and cut it out. Because Brian does it when we're recording or when we're streaming, but I haven't gone live yet so you can hear us. Not during the several minutes after I stop the odds and ends, but before we make it so that everyone can hear us. He has not learned timing. It's very frustrating. But anyway, let me thank our mythic lifeguards so I can, let everyone stop listening. So let me thank the mythic lifeguards in this order: Violet Moon, Timu Hellas Haru, Scuzzo, Pinball Witch, PJ McMullen, Mr. Dr. Lewis, Mike? I don't know who that is. Kim Ho, Casey, John Parker, Jason Kaus, Jason Doan, Jake Jansons, Connor Kennedy, Cody Buckowing, ALK Alters, Al, and the Beast Father, Aaron Goodwine. Thank you all so much for your support, and to everybody out there that is a lifeguard, or that listens, or watches, or whatever. I appreciate it. Be sure you check out the Deep End, because once these 4 videos are going up, the first thing I'm gonna get done there is the defense of the Legend of Zelda cartoon, which I'm very excited about, because it's been rolling around in my head forever now. So, yay! But all right, and with that, we're gonna be done. So this has been the Manapool number 658. Thank you all so very much for joining us, and let us know what you like or don't in Dominaria United, and tell us how you did at the pre-release, digital or physical, whatever.